Well, the visuals on your screens capture the terrifying force of the overflowing Dikhu River. Floodwaters are gushing downstream at an alarming speed, turning the river into a raging torrent. A truck can be seen being swept away by the powerful current, while massive tree trunks and other debris are being carried downstreams with incredible force. These visuals underscore the destruction and the power of these floods and the grave danger they pose to anyone living or traveling near the river banks. Authorities are urging residents to stay away from flood-hit areas as rescue and relief operations continue. Amana, also take us through as to what kind of relief efforts are actually visible by the authorities. They have issued a slew of warnings, but what is the action being taken on ground?
So far, we're getting to hear that there have been some efforts to rescue some people stranded on the other side of the river. I currently got some visuals. I think I've shared the visuals as well of the SDRF and the local people. The community strength and the community quickness is something that, we have to learn from the people here in the tribal areas. They've all come together along with the officials, and they are on their way to rescue using mostly, I think, because we have not seen such incidents, especially with floods in these places before. I think they had to make raft using bamboo and some of those available raw materials. And they have been currently, I think, rescuing some people on the other side of the river in Tizit. And I think as far as Mon is concerned, the officials are doing their best to send excavators and the SDRF team, along with the communities and leaders of the villages and the areas where it has been affected, to band together, to come together and do their best. I think they're going at it non-stop. I have also heard that the Chief Minister has declared a compensation for 4 lakhs for those who have been killed in this tragedy, as well as 74,000 for those injured. Hopefully, we are looking also at some kind of compensation for the loss of economy here. Like those people who have lost their tea gardens submerged, paddy fields submerged, their fisheries have been completely flooded, and those who have lost their vehicle and such. So we are hoping that, some kind of compensation will be given. So far, I think the government is doing its best, but also, have been caught unawares. Because something like this has never happened before. I'm sure we'll take this as a lesson to learn, and I'm sure maybe we'll be better equipped to deal with. Hopefully, it never happens again. However, I think this has been an effort from all angles, doing our best from all sides.
Amana, stay with us. Some more breaking news coming in. Well, the visuals on your screen are from the Sonari Mon Road, where relentless rainfall has left the national highway and surrounding areas completely inundated. Roads have disappeared under flood waters, with people struggling to wade through knee-deep water as heavy rain continues to lash the region. Vehicular movement has been severely disrupted, and the flooding has brought normal life to a standstill. Authorities are urging commuters to avoid the route and remain indoors as the weather continues to worsen. Amana, also talk about what kind of refuge are people taking at this point in time? Are there NGOs and communities at work, apart from the official authorities, looking after people and telling them which areas to stay away from?
As discussed, I think like I spoken of how this has never happened before. It's unprecedented, something never expected. I think people are in a shock as well. For those who are stranded, I have heard of some who are stranded who have traveled back from other nearby towns, are putting up anywhere they can. Those who are stranded on the other side of the river, before the river, I mean, we are uncertain if the rains will continue or, it will stop completely. We're hoping that the rains don't continue and, it doesn't start, because if the rains continue, it's going to get worse than what it was this morning. So I've heard from various sources that wherever they have been stuck or stranded, efforts have been made, if they are able to rescue those people, or they're putting up with anyone wherever they are stuck. I see a lot of people. I just got a call that they have called all the young people of the village to come and help a particular family stranded on the other side of the river. So they are doing their best to ensure that, we at least avoid casualty. And for those stuck, I think they're putting up wherever they can at the moment. And everyone, along with the officials, I mean, army is on the ground as well. I saw army making a makeshift raft to get the families out of the other side of the river. And the local people, the youth have been called. They've mobilized the youth. They've mobilized the students to come and help wherever they can, wherever people are stranded. So right now, efforts are at peak. Everyone is giving their best, doing their best. However, if the rain comes again, if the rain starts, then I think that's a disaster in waiting. So we'll have to just wait and watch that it doesn't get worse than what it is right now.
All right, Amana, stay with us. We have some more breaking news to discuss with you. Well, the visuals on your screens are from Monsoon in Nagaland, where heavy landslides have caused widespread destruction following incessant rainfall. Several houses have suffered extensive damage, with debris and mud engulfing parts of residential areas. The scale of destruction highlights the intensity of the landslides, forcing residents to flee to safer locations. Rescue and relief teams are on the ground assessing the damage and assisting affected families as authorities remain on high alert. Amana, what is the IMD saying about the next couple of days? If it continues to rain, if the forecast does not become kinder, what is the plan? What are the authorities going to do?
I've heard that there are meetings right now, the officials, along with, there are a lot of, warnings that have been sent out. There have been caution sent out through media, social media. However, we're also facing problem with the network. Geo, as of now, is completely shut down. I'm also using Wi-Fi as well to speak to you. And as far as the information I'm getting is concerned, I've heard that the youth are coming together, giving, relaying message through different sources to come down to speak to each other and see what best, and avoiding the river areas, However, a lot of houses have been flooded. So I think there is more caution to avoid those low-lying areas as well as riverbanks. So if I think they have... there's meetings going on at all levels, officials as well as the student bodies and the tribal leaders of any untoward incident in case the rains continue. So I think right now, all we can say is avoiding the worst areas, the low-lying areas and the riverbanks, and also avoiding traveling is the first and the most important thing and the most important step we can take at the moment. However, to be very honest, I don't think a lot of us have clarity because, like I said, this is an unprecedented event. Something like this has never happened. We have heard in Northeast, flooding is mostly in Assam, and this is something we have never seen before here. So I think this kind of devastation is something that we are going to either remember and look back, or if it is something that is going to continue, there's some measures have to be taken, very serious measures have to be taken so that something like this doesn't happen again. The losses, as I talk to you, there's visuals coming in from many places where people are uploading the effects right now because network was out, lights were out. So as far as I have information, all the major roads disconnecting the subdivisions are completely blocked. Network is not there. So hopefully the responsible authorities and the people on the ground, the leaders, are trying their best to come together and make plans as to how best we can tackle in case of the rains, lashing again.
Amana, stay with us. Some more breaking news coming in. Well, the monsoon disaster has dealt a severe economic blow to Nagaland's Tizit subdivision, where floodwaters have submerged vast stretches of tea gardens, fisheries and betel nut plantations. The primary sources of livelihood for thousands of families. Roads remain completely submerged or cut off, disrupting connectivity and hampering relief efforts. Meanwhile, Monsoon has also been hit by heavy landslides, damaging homes and infrastructure. With transport links severed and agricultural losses mounting, authorities are assessing the full extent of devastation while rescue and relief operations continue. Amana with us. Amana, it's one thing to prevent people from, the harms of these landslides and rain. It's another matter altogether, a mammoth undertaking to make sure that, the problems such as waterborne diseases that come after, this has happened is the bigger task. Have authorities started preparing for that?
I'm hoping. We've had 2 deaths recently from JE, Japanese encephalitis. 2 children have died just a week back. And this is a big scare at the moment. The medical department is taking stock of the situation. However, with these floods, the waterborne diseases is going to rise. We're looking at tea gardens completely submerged in water. And even if the water submerges, there's going to be muck, there's going to be debris. People are not, going to be in a position to go and harvest their produce as far as tea is concerned, or their fields and the paddy fields are concerned. So, we're looking at so much of uncertainty when it comes to such waterborne diseases, or looking into the devastation caused by this flood on our economic, lives. So there is aftermath, after the tragedy, the death reported, the more important issues will come up. How are we going to cope with the loss of so much of our economic activity? And people are already crying over it. So the diseases are another big matter. We are already battling JE here in Nagaland. A lot of cases have come up. There have been deaths of 2 very young children just recently, and it was already a caution. And now I think this flood is, it has just increased our fears regarding this.
Amana, thank you so much for staying with us and taking us through all these